Rise, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. That's what my mom used to say every morning with her 6 children. But the real song goes, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, rise, shine. Give God the glory, glory, soldiers of the Lord. Good morning, great morning, fantastic, marvelous morning. Why? Because we were chosen for this day to rise because we are alive. You want to know why? Because you are breathing in His love and exhaling His love. I was chosen for this day that we will never, ever, ever see again. Therefore, we need to give Him the praise, the hallelujah, the worship, the acknowledgement, and most important, the glory, as my mom would say. To God be the glory. And it's interesting because today's Alcoholics Anonymous daily reflection reading is God, good orderly direction. But before I go any further, I'm at Rena B, your Cougar for Cocoa Pops lady. As you can see, why I'm your spiritual coach, your transformational speaker, or your spiritual consultant, whether you know it or not. So let's get started by contributing a song to my mother that I sung to her on my TV talk show called Choosing a New Way of Life. She has transitioned, but I remember Mama, right? And so the month of March is her birthday, March the 23rd. So every morning when I get a chance, no, I'm going to make the chance to acknowledge my mama. I had a praying mother, and what I can do now is to continue her legacy by letting her know, Mama, I thought you'd like to know, by Candy Staten. Listen with your spiritual ears, okay? I thought you'd like to know all those nights you paced the floor, praying I would make it home all right, believing God that He would someday save my soul. Well, He did, and I thought you'd like to know. I thought you'd like to know all those prayers you prayed for me. Never one was fell to the ground. I know sometimes it looked like I was a million miles from grace. He answered your prayers, and I thought you'd like to know. Mama, I want you to know I love you. Please forgive me for all the times I broke your heart. Every tear you cried for me drew me closer to being free. I wanna thank you, and I thought you'd like to know. I thought you'd like to know. My mama prayed for me. Out of her 6 children, she had 4 of us addicted at the same time, and I happened to be the worst. But guess what? I had a praying mother, and I was able to share this song to her and to demonstrate my 33 years in recovery. At that time, when she died in 2016, I had those amount of years. And God blessed me, prepared me to take care of my mama. Not only my mama, but 8 other family members on hospice. Recovery is being prepared for things yet to come. So, that being said, I am a former drug addict, alcoholic, and prostitute. 14 years of my life I served the enemy, the devil, during my addiction that got severe during the last 5 years. And as a result, at the age of 34, 3 o'clock in the morning, on February the 22nd of 1990, my stepson and I was getting high. I was doing all kind of sexual favors for him. When everything was said and done, or in his opinion, not completed, I transformed. He transformed into a violent person. I transformed into a person who feared for my life. And as a result, he punched me. I got out the car and started running. He started chasing me. And as I was running 3 o'clock in the morning, y'all, in the streets of Mount Airy, Philadelphia, a flashback from my past came to the forefront of my mind. When I used to play hide and seek, I would hide underneath the bed. So when I saw the slew of cars, I said, if I just get underneath the car, he can't get to me. He can't kill me. He can't hurt me. I only weighed 90 pounds. Dark circles around my eyes, hair all short and matted, missing several teeth, face all sunken in. But I put myself underneath that parked car to save my life. My face was literally on the ground. And the flashbacks continued of how at the age of 34 did I get underneath a parked car. Edwina, you was the co-captain of the cheerleader team, the vice president of your class, voted 1 to most likely to succeed. You had ambitions of being a model, an actress, even a phys ed teacher. How are you underneath this parked car? Your family deemed you the most smartest of the 6 kids, right? How did you get underneath this parked car? My 2 children at the time, right, respected me, admired me, right, elevated me, being so proud that I was their mother. But as my addiction progressed, at the age of 23, as a prostitute, I got pregnant and I committed murder. I had an abortion. Why? Because I was too afraid to tell the world, show the world that I had this man's baby. Of fear of being judged and criticized, I took life, and therefore I committed murder by having that abortion. I said, then if anything happens to me, I will deserve because I took life. It took me 10 years to forgive myself. But that night, right, when I had that flashback, the ugly side of addiction, the rapes, the beat ups, the setup, being passed around like a bucket, spit on, called all kinds of names, right? The suicide attempts, right? Jumping out of cars, jumping out of windows, falling off of a roof, right? Breaking into my own family's home just to get one more, just to get one more. And somewhere deep, deep, deep inside of me, these words came out. Whoever they say you are, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now, now, or show me a better way. Voila. 33 years later, as of February the 23rd of 2023, I've been prepared to sit before you, qualified, right? And prepared to share my experience, my strength, my hope, my acquired wisdom, and my perspective, right? Utilizing the 12 spiritual principles from a 12-step program called Alcoholics Anonymous, recently including the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family, and more recently, the transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja of P3 University. With those 3 wisdom tools and not administration, with those 3 tools that I use, the instruments, the information, right? I'm on fire. I do not represent AA, don't represent the Ruiz family, and don't even represent Dr. Sonja, but I represent the God who met me underneath that parked car, even though I did not know him. I was taught that he was a punishing God, and meaning you're a bad girl, God gonna get you. So it wasn't that I was hollering out to a God that I knew. But guess what? During them foxhole prayers, I said, help me, help me, help me. And if you attend my second Zoom presentation On March the 23rd, you will hear the journey of me becoming transparent and authentic, because underneath that parka, I did not look like this. No, I did not. And so my first role in my recovery was to keep off the mask, right? And the physical mask, so that I can address the issues that I've been masking all my life. Through the fourth step inventory and the Ruiz families documentation of being domesticated, I found out that there was nothing wrong with me, but something happened to me. And as a result, I continue to remove the mask. What you see now, listen, there are times during the show I'll snatch off this wig. I will also take out these teeth, right? I will also, right, remove this makeup. Right, so that I can stay humbled and I can stay reminded of who I am and whose I am, and therefore the mask must go. Voila. Wait a minute, yo. Got some more to take off. I ain't ashamed because I'm transparent and authentic, right? And you want to know why? Yes, because I don't need it. I don't want it, right? And I don't even need these. Did the mask change who I am? No, but this is what I mean by being totally transparent and authentic. Don't focus on the messenger, focus on the spiritual message. I'll put these back in to articulate and pronunciate, okay? This is what I mean by the journey for me to be who I am and not being afraid of the world judging me. Oh, hell no. So, with that, let's continue with our topic today. Okay? All right. So, you like it? Now, usually I fluff it up, right? But I can wear it this way too. You want me to fluff it up? Okay, here we go. Right? Here we go. Right? Here we go. Right? Wait. Right, you see? Yeah, there we go. I love me today, right? Okay, so today's topic is March the 11th. Put my glasses back on. And the reading for March the 11th is my perspective of AA Daily Reflections called Good Orderly Direction, incorporating the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family and transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja of P3 University. All right. So open up your spiritual ears, open up your spiritual eyes, and let's dive in dissecting this reading for today. Good orderly direction. G-O-D. All right, so here we go. And remove this. And let me take a drink, my tea. Okay. And let's go to the reading. It says, March the 11th, Daily Reflections, Good Orderly Direction. And our co-founders took a quote from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book on page 40, and it states, it is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was a most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us. To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. Again, from 12 Steps and 12 Tradition, page 40. And the person in recovery shares his perspective. All I have to do is look back at my past to see where my self-will has led me. I just don't know what's best for me, and I believe my higher power does. God, which I define as good orderly direction, has never let me down. But I have let myself down quite often. Using my self will in a situation usually has the same result as forcing the wrong piece into a jigsaw puzzle: exhaustion and frustration. Step three opens the door to the rest of the program. When I ask God for guidance, I know that whatever happens is the things are exactly as they are supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want or expect. God does for me what I cannot do for myself if I let Him. Oh my God. Many of you know I am completing my dissertation. Yes. And it is from biblical studies, right? I want to find out more about the God who I thought was a punishing God, right? Who He was and what He did that no human power could do. Even though I had a praying mother, she too was limited. So I wanted to know who this God was. And so, after going back to school and getting my master's from Lincoln University, writing my thesis on how employees can keep their jobs who suffer from alcoholism and mental illness, training co-workers to be EAP representatives so that they can get the help they need while keeping their job for the most part. And then I said, let me go on even further. And I registered 7 years ago. This is why I got to complete. 7 years is the year of completion. And I said, wow, I need to share with those who don't understand. And I got it from being in my class and my studies for biblical studies when people shunned against using the word higher power and things of that nature because they didn't understand. So I said, well, let me, right, produce a dissertation, right, and demonstrating how people in 12-step programs, right, the process they took as they came in, whether they was agnostic, atheists, believers, non-believers, right, almost believers, right, how did the 12 spiritual principles lead them to identify the God of their understanding? And most people use the acronym for God as good, orderly direction. But as you saw in the reading, this gentleman wind up calling Him God. But does God need a name? He is. But the journey of the 12 spiritual principles, spiritual in nature, right? Spiritual transformation, spiritual experiences, spiritual awakenings to create a psychic change, right? And doing that fourth step and going back in our history and looking at our past and our patterns and the domestication that the Ruiz family talks about. Yes, I want to know more about that God. All right. So it will be completed this year. And so I thank God that I see something that can be my opening statement. And I think I found it. I just let the spirit lead me because I've been procrastinating. Listen, I told you I'm transparent. I've been procrastinating, right? And I remember in recovery, they say it's not about perfection, it's about progress, right? But I also need to say that I face some kind of fear, right? Even with 33 years in the program. And so in recovery, they say face everything and recover, face everything and be restored, face everything and be rejuvenated. So I got people holding me accountable, like my spiritual mentor, Dr. Lulu Nix, right? Oh my God, she is such a blessing to me. Her son, Dr. Sheldon Nix, guess what? I got people behind me who can what? Validate. Edwina, the 12 spiritual principles can help others identify the God of their understanding. Okay, so let's dissect this and let's go for it. All right, so here the first thing it says, right, good orderly direction. Do you have you ever have had a problem with God? Hmm? Allah, Jehovah, right? All the various names to identify the creator, right? And so when we look around us, as the Ruiz family talks about in the 5 agreements, if we just begin to become aware that we are in a fog, and I believe it is the journey of life for us to go through whatever it is to have that knee-bowing experience that will force us to say he is. Down the line says we are not natural beings having a spiritual experience. No, we are spiritual beings encased in walking this natural journey called life here on this earth. And so when we begin to realize that it's that one and only knee-bowing experience, and most often it is through humiliation, that we cry out to a God, whoever, to help me, to help us, because he is, that we begin to relinquish our self-will, because my self-will got me underneath that parked car. Where has your self-will taken you? So good orderly direction if you haven't been able to identify a God of your understanding, okay? So if good orderly direction works for you, use it. All right, so then he goes on to say, it is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. Huh? It is when we try. See, I dissect these words. When we try. How many things have you tried over and over and over and again? How many? Based on your self-will, and you never succeeded. How many? What situations? What circumstances? So you understand the word try, don't you? And so listen to what this says. It says, we tried, right, to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. We try to conform our self-will with God's that we begin to use it rightly. Why? Because we know who the Creator is. We know that he is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And he knows each of his spiritual beings. Even though we are encased in this physical body, he recognizes the spirit because he created it. And so when we begin to conform our self-will with God's, we are beginning to use it rightly, all right? So then it says here, to all of us, this was a most wonderful revelation. Now, isn't it something that through humiliation, underneath that parked car, when I holler for him to take me out this life or show me a better way, that he chose me to live. And he chose me to be prepared for things yet to come. And so through embracing, internalizing, dissecting, evaluating, assessing, conducting surgery on these 12 spiritual principles, right? I began to see a marvelous revelation. The obsession and compulsion was relieved from me. All I had to do was keep putting one foot in front of the other. And even when I stumbled or I tripped or I fell, it was in a forward position. Because once you have that knee bow experience, you will never go back. You will only go back to help somebody else. All right. All right. And so here he goes on to say, right, our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. So that's not hard to understand. All of our problems, everything that we've been through, we tried to use our willpower, thinking we King Kong, we what? Self-will, willpower, right? Our own willpower got us where? Nowhere. Until we have that knee-bowing experience, we will see how useless our self-will was, but necessary in order for us to come to that knee-bowing experience, okay? All right, and so he goes on to say, right, We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention for us, right? So for most of us, God was out there somewhere. I don't know. My dad said, "You're responsible. You the man. You the woman. Whatever happens to you is you. No God thing, right?" And so all my issues, all my challenges, all my situations and circumstances, I try to use my willpower. hmm Really, my ego and pride, right? To deal with all my situations. And what did it get me? Underneath that parked car. What about you? All right. So then it says here, right? To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. Oh my God. Here it is, y'all, right? To make this increasingly possible, meaning aligning my self-will with God's will. He knows what's good for me. He knows what he has prepared for me to do. He knows my destiny and my purpose, and he knows who I am, regardless if I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, right? So it's a beautiful thing being introduced me to a 12-step spiritual program that when I use that humility to say, "Help me," that I've been put on a pathway, right, to spiritual freedom, free from recovery, emerge enlightened, to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. And so the 12 spiritual principles does exactly that. And guess which step does it? Step number 3. The first one, we admitted we were powerless over our alcoholism, that our lives were unmanageable, right? Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore me to soundness of mind, sanity. And number 3, we made a decision. Yesterday, we talked about we have a choice today. And so on step 3, we make a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understand him. And it may just be good, orderly direction. All right. But step 3 allows us to move forward with the other 9 steps. So let's look at what the alcoholic in recovery states. All I have to do is look back at my past to see where my self will has led me. Mm-hmm. So that's when we talk about the 4th step, which follows step 3, made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves, right? Where we identify where those attitudes, ideas, behaviors, and belief systems were first formulated, by whom and what situations, what circumstances, right? And what part did we play in it? And that gives us information. It becomes a reference to what happened to us, not what's wrong with us, right? So just look back into your past. And if you have step 3 as the foundation, you're not afraid to look back, because you're looking back to set yourself free. But you can't set yourself free if you are not aware and don't acknowledge the stumbling blocks. Okay? All right, so here we go. Then he says, right? I just don't know what's best for me, and I believe my higher power does. Huh? Through that knee bowing experience, we will realize that what we thought ain't it. And we realize that this creator, whoever he is, knows what's best for me, because I should have been dead. I should have been in my grave, right? But he chose me to live. We are chosen, okay? And so he knows what's best for me. And he goes on to say, right? So God, God, which I define as good order direction, has never let me down, but I have let myself down quite often. How many times when we try to do self-will, we always let ourselves down? If it's not instant, it's gradual or it's permanent, right? And so he realized that with God, good orderly direction has never let him down, but our self-will does every time. Okay, so then he goes on to say, using my self will in a situation usually has the same result as forcing the wrong piece into a jigsaw puzzle, having exhaustion and frustrations. Huh? You ever try to put a triangle inside of a circle, or a circle inside of a triangle? That's self will. And what do we get? Frustration and exhaustion. Okay. I got 1 minute. Okay. And so then he goes on to say, step 3 opens the door to the rest of the program. Listen to it. Step 3 made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. Are you kidding me? Make that decision. We make decisions all day long, and where did it get us? So if we are in this spiritual program designed to give us a spiritual transformation in order to achieve a psychic change, then we need to make that decision every day, all day, right? To turn our lives and our will over to the care of God as we understand Him. So when I ask God for guidance, I know that whatever happens is the best possible situation. Things are exactly as they are supposed to be, even if they aren't what I want or expect. God does for me what I cannot do for myself if I let Him. Oh my God, if I let Him. If I let Him. So having that knee bowing experience shows us that we ain't it. We're not. And that's good. It's designed that way. Because if not, we'll keep going through life thinking we got the power and we don't. All right. And so it is designed for us to have that knee bowing experience in order for us to cry out that He is, and I will let Him. So God has done for me and countless others with mental illness and addictions, right? And the whole lifestyles that go with it, right? By submitting our will to His will, we are now change agents. We are now being used by Him to touch one more. And more importantly, all He asks is just 2 things: stay sober and help another alcoholic achieve sobriety. Because in God's world, all of us are ill to some extent. And believe it or not, all of us can use the spiritual principles of a 12-step program. Check it out. I got to go now. Y'all know where I'm going, to my 7:30 a.m. meeting. If God chooses to wake us up tomorrow, I'll be here. I hope you will be too. But today, you got a problem with God? That's okay. Change the narrative and make it an acronym: good, orderly direction. Practice align your will with God's will and accept, don't reject. And if you have to, and I suggest you do, use the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if I got a problem with people, God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that that person is me. I'm practicing these 12 spiritual principles, the 5 agreements, and transformational teachings by Dr. Sonja. Therefore, I'm on fire for my God. Have a blessed day.